There we go. Okay.
There it is.
Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, good afternoon, Ballistic. How are you? Dr. Contrast live here. Hope everything's well. And lo and behold, I've got a powerful guest in the studio who's going to help us today, man. Put some really good information together. But today we're going to take a look at some of the past history of the G12 process. We've been going through a lot of good feedback for about the last month or so. We've had some great meetings with people to get things squared away.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty interesting, we got audio. Have you all set?
Yeah, we're good.
We had some really interesting conversation over the past few days with people that are involved in this racing program, and I thought we'd bring back some of the old history of the sketches here you guys to look at, and then we kind of wrap it up with a couple of what's to come. So that'll be kind of fun to do. So at any rate,
yeah, we've got a lot of. What we're going to do is we're going to go through everything that we did over the last. Oh, geez, it's been a while now.
Oh, it's been a good 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah,
easily.
So we're going to go through everything, kind of where we've been and how we got here. Which I thought was a really great idea. So, Doc, what do we got to start?
Well, we went all the way back, and we first looked at this thing. Let's bring this out for conversation's sake. This is where we started with this beauty. And I think, and again, it's certainly not going to be throwing stones in an effort like this, but I think the thing that really bothered all of us was the fact that, I think Shadow will agree here, it just didn't have that racing quality, or some of the surfaces we're dealing with here just didn't look like it had the same kind of impact. So there's some things we kept intact here. For example, let me use an illustration here. We kept this guy. We tried to preserve the shark nose effect. Want to get rid of some of the wheel plant systems. It didn't make any sense there. And jump in, Shadow, if you think.
Yeah, in the back, the open section in the back here, because we actually reused that really nicely.
Yeah, we kind of opened that up. And I think the thing that really bothers the most was right in through here. Those suspension struts or whatever that piece is doing.
Well, the big air dam.
Yeah, the big blocker right here. It's really something. So that gives you a bit of a review here as to where we're now. As we go forward, we've maintained some of the character that we liked about this thing, like the shark nose effect on it. We wanted to drop the slope line on it for better visibility, narrow the cockpit up a little bit. So with that thought in mind, let's kind of go here. Let's show you where we started with this thing. These are the first set of sketches we did. Let's go all the way back to the history of this thing. Yeah. And you'll see a relationship that we're trying to make here with one or the other. So we can get these both together. We went through a pass of saying, all right, let's keep the basic gesture all the way down the line here, but let's kind of put more slope in that thing as we did here. And came up with an elevation like series such as this.
Get rid of
some of these guys.
Or at least get some arrow in there.
Yeah, and a nice big splitter, and it's that big pitchfork comes out of the suspension system. It really nails that process down. We kept a lot of this vacuum back here. A little bit more dramatic here. We decided to go right. We decided not to go single cockpit. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, on this version, so that was one of the things we found in the early stages was fixing this into being a GTR was just. It wasn't really possible. No. We had to break a lot of rules, which is actually what we ended up doing. So we took two paths. We're going to do a facelift on this, which we feel would be more functional.
Right.
And then we kind of took the gloves off, and you'll see how we got to the GTR process.
Yeah, I think we won the boxing match. We just have to let you guys see what we come up with here. So there's the first set of sketches here. Let me just kind of run through these very quickly. There's one. Then we put a little bit of perspective on it. We try to get a little bit tricky with some of the glass compounds and so forth. Still kind of felt clumsy. We're working kind of narrow it up a little bit here, but just something really still odd about that air dam up front. And this process back here, adding a spoiler didn't do much to it. I mean, it wasn't much of a different configuration than this was. So there was a second pass at it. Then we went into something like, part of my hands as I go across here. Then we opened up, put a little more perspective and tried to draw up the slope to get a little bit more racy with a nice canard splitter down below.
Yeah, and we flattened this window out to get rid of the glare.
Got more of this in play, kept it pretty low profile like we've got back in the original. But again, there's still something about that wheel pant system and having those rear wheels open and so forth. It just didn't look really viperish enough or nasty enough. So let's see, we're going another one here. That route, and then we got a little bit more romantic with it. Kind of sloped, brought the lift a little bit and kept this in play.
Got rid of the fenders.
Got rid of the fenders, opened it all up, almost like open wheel racing, but that didn't seem to hit the bill either. Then the last one we did, it's kind of interesting and started to get more of a character we're looking for, but not quite there yet. And that was bringing that slope line in, keeping it pretty up above the wheels and so forth, getting rid of the wheel pants and the covers, putting more of a splitter down below, but it still had that problem up front with that air dam. And I think you brought that up. It was pretty clear That was a real issue with the original G12 system we had here.
That's easily the biggest problem.
Yeah, that big air dam right there was a big. But this was useless, I think. Yeah. These made no sense. And having it open, I understand why, but it just didn't look like a racing version, which we wanted to shoot for. So the last one we go to, this started to take on some character. It got a little more evil looking, but again, some of the clumsiness in here was not quite right yet. Some of the
we got too far away from what an Origin would look like. I mean, this really helped us on our GTR concept, though, because it let us see some of the things that we could do with it. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, great point, because we took that module, that character right there, we kind of brought back into play some sketches down the line and dropped the whole profile. So there was phase one. Let's run through some real quick sketches and we'll show you where we are here. So we're going to do a second pass with this stuff. Let me move across here and get these guys out of the way. And we're not disturbing our sight line here. Then we're going to do a more refined set. And by the way, we're still, just so you're aware of it here, we're still, both Shadow and I and the rest of the gang, like the family that helped us go through some of the aero systems, we're still looking at trying to do a modified G12. It just kind of felt, well, maybe we add these. Take advantage of this and add a little bit of a canard change to it. Then add a splitter on top of that.
Or at least bring it out.
Let's move it forward to the wheels.
Yeah, we also were working with a split aero system here where it was inbound. Some of it went up, some of it went down to the under tray. We thought that was at least a good way to get rid of that dam.
Yeah, it kind of hints at it right here. But
or the air plow.
So there's that sketch. Then we went to this guy, a little bit more refined, bringing the nose cap down a little bit, but it still looked forced. It didn't look right up in here at all. It wasn't really wicked enough. So let's go down to this guy here, and I'm not really playing games with these buttresses. That just did not hit it at all. So we're going through the history.
Not much of a bumper if that's what it was supposed to be.
This is actually like a little Tonka toy, really, when you get to it. Then this started to have some character. We started looking, all right, what do we take this thing and slope it in, get rid of that air dam up front here, and really begin to put a little, like a real cow catcher, like an under tray piece into this thing. Yeah. And start to close off the back of this a little bit more. It was kind of neat. So that started to kind of move a little bit slipperier here. Still trying to take advantage of those suspension pods. But again, same kind. It just didn't have, this started to take on some personality, but not quite there yet for what we wanted to do. Yep. So bear with us here. Now we do the same with that, same kind of series.
Yeah, this is where we messed around with keeping the clearance, but actually allowing the air to work underneath, and that's where we started to get it with the barge boards and stuff. And we're starting to say we're going to be able to use all that air underneath,
right, and deflect it and direct it. Yeah, you're right. I think that now the whole idea is to keep a little bit of that character here, but to drop the personality and get more of a real streamlined racing system.
Get rid of that view side. I mean that would never work.
No, sightline wise, but we took advantage of. Notice. From there to there, dropping it down a little bit, get a little faster with the slope line.
Flattening that glass. Yes. That was one of the biggest things.
Now the next series is we're going to take that flatness and really move it in and get more of a cockpit look to it. So that's that guy. Then last but not least, a little bit, again, same process again. Less of an air dam here, but still a little bit forest and a lot of surface work in there that just didn't look like it was racing machine at all. Yeah. So that goes there. Now this is where we start to really cook with gas. We're back in the history here.
This is the last.
This is the last shot. This is the last series. So hopefully we made some progress here, gang. So went back to history. I looked at the front three-quarters, still a little clumsy in through here, but something started happening from the rear three-quarter. We started to look at some really interesting section change here. And again, getting more of a foil system in the back. It started to open up the door a little bit. What do you think, Shadow? That kind of...
Yeah, this is where we actually realized that there was so much air and stuff that we could use back here. Right. And this is where we started to really dive into that GTR variant. Boy. It was actually when we started to talk about, we're like, well, wait a minute, we could actually turn this into something, but we do need to break a lot of rules. So that's where we're going with this set.
That's where we're going to throw it all out the window. So that was the first pass there. Then we went back in again, second pass. Interesting thing here, we like this lower splitter area, but again, that same vacuum back here, it just didn't have the same romance.
Yeah, the reason we did that was because we have so much air coming in underneath because of that air. We basically took that air, but we're reusing it back here, which really allows it to push it through the air, but also give it downforce, which is really useful.
Yeah, and again, that's a good point too. And I think the thing that we talked about when doing these sketches, this still looked like it was cliched. This is still unnecessary. All that open area, it just didn't. We're still trying to work a little bit of the system into it, but it just didn't seem to want to click. Yeah. So nonetheless, let's go move along here. Yeah, and then we went to this cockpit look, and not too scary.
Well, this is where we started talking about the GTR being a single seater, which really did work because it allowed us to use so much more of it angled that out. It got a little thinner, but it also allowed us to use the air around it, which is you'll see in the next few sketches.
Yeah, and it's a good point, Shadow, because it didn't have the same rawness about it. Yeah, it looked almost aircraft-like, but it moved away from this.
This was a real departure from Origin. So that's actually why we retracted retracted back on that. Like that as an Aegis ship, that would totally make sense.
It makes sense, but not here.
Not so we kind of took it back a little bit, went back to more of an origin.
Then went back to this thing again. You know, just moving back and forth again. Pretty static.
We took away what we did when here was we flattened the whole thing out except for that little bit.
A little sliver right in through here.
Yep.
So that's where we were there. Now
we start to get into where Dr. C went crazy, which was awesome. This is where the gloves came off.
This is where we said, you know what? Enough of this stuff. Let's kind of move into something that says that's a racing statement. So we first thing we did was look at the profile. These were troublesome. That was troublesome. The glass was troublesome. All these elements played in the fairings here. So we did a series of elevations. These are real quick little thumbnail sketches on what did we change the character on the profile.
Yeah, the key part is where the driver sits in this.
That's the occupant right there. So as we go down the line here, and again the front started to make some sense. Notice we get rid of all the bulk, all suspension is packaged into here. Much lower intakes to the hydrogen engine system, right?
Yep. We moved over to a hydrogen engine system.
Really cool. So this is where we started to turn the corner a little bit. So and then there's the first pass at it. Now we're going back to the second pass, which is here.
Yeah, this is where
it starts to really cook. Now, notice how we took the same character but dropped the slope line, kept that same kind of shark nose element in it, added the sponson underneath it, closed the wheels off, and took that cantilever right back into the tail section.
Right, which carries this, but it also closes the wheels off again, which is one thing we agreed. You wouldn't want to drive a car, even though it's a GTR. You never want water flying off the wheels.
That's going to spatter like that.
Yeah, it's just a hell racing.
Best thing to do is, first of all, close them all off, and then people are going to say, well, what about if you come to pit stops? Or no problem. We're going to work out something where this whole flange begins to butterfly out, and the wheel comes out, and off it goes. So there we are with that pass, and all of a sudden we start looking a little cleaner system, almost like an engine system back here.
Right.
The profile looked pretty good. Probably the rear three quarter looked good, but this is a little bit on the odd side here. So let's move along here. The next set we went down to was this guy, and all of a sudden, now
we're bringing that origin character back in there. I mean, it looked like the 315 exhaust, and we have this round deck back here. We're using that air beautifully. We dropped it down, flattened it. I mean, it just...
Yeah, all of a sudden the whole paradigm changed.
You keep this whole top. It's just bringing it down and down. And then we're just like, well, wait a minute, we can go really far with it.
But look at the difference in profile. Look at this. From there to there, look at it here. It's almost minimal. Which tells us that whole slope comes right in, which is what we wanted in the first place. We wanted to drop that whole column, or that whole nose cone into place. And this is neat back here. That had a start. Let's put it that way. And then we close off the rear wheel. I'm not sure about that. Let's go down to this guy. Let's move along here. They get a little sharper as they go. Now these starting to look like they're beginning to hum. This is fun. Look at the front elevation on that thing.
This was the set he showed me just the other day.
And he said, no, we can't do that. That's too radical. I said, yeah, we're going to do that because we're going to do that
anyway because it's ours.
Radical.
Because it's ours. No, I mean, this really starts because we have our screens in here, which allow you to see through these wheel wells, which is perfect. You've got, you're essentially, you're still using this character. We're just getting rid of that and kind of zoop, bringing it down.
Just really condense it and just compress.
And bringing the whole profile low.
Well, excellent point. Look at those two things right there became a part of that whole drop canard system that gives you the drive underneath the machine. And again, much more brutal back here. Look at the elevation on this thing. There's nothing there. And that's the thing that's cool about it. All of this is happening in between the wheels, where this one, this is happening between the wheels. You can't see it. This is all above the wheels.
Yeah. And that was one of the big things about what I said about this one initially is it just, I mean, you just look like it would flip over around a corner.
No doubt. This is a problem in scale. When we put the final stuff together, this series of sketches will have the same basic overall wheelbase, etc., but the proportions are going to change dramatically. So there was a start there to kind of turn the corner and say, all of a sudden we start to go a little bit wilder. What happens if you go this route? Notice the same basic character. We just kind of dropped it, minimized that shark nose in this thing, and then we started putting these side sponsons with these canards, almost a la Bentley Super 8. Then again, adding a closed wheel pant, but just flaring it back and then getting around, and then these are intakes into the engine system. So there you go, man. And notice a little sneaky part here. This whole thing, you see it here. It's much more suspended cockpit area. So what do you think, Shadow? So did that help a little bit?
I'm loving where this is going.
So here we are. So there, this is it. And now let's go to the next one. rear three-quarter
this
study.
was the view that I really liked. Yeah, because I mean, getting that exhaust that way that looks, and being that we're using a hydrogen engine, it could totally be possible.
Yep.
But then this huge open area that you really get a feel for what's happening there. That's all open space, and
That's
you know,
exactly
that airflow
right.
that's we're reusing off this back, and
Yep.
I just can't imagine how much downforce this would generate.
See, that's a great point, Shadow, because in this sketch, that little shaded area, that's almost like a survival module for the driver itself.
Right,
This thing is all suspended in there, and the rest is all draped underneath it and engine system. So.
Yeah, and we came up with the fact that in our GTR we have a shielded pod that is actually the core. So if the entire car is completely decimated, it's just in a Formula One or Indy car, it's designed to take the impact.
That's exactly right.
So and then we also show the flaps that actually come up. So you're coming in for a pit stop, and those pop up right as they come in, so you can change the tires.
Same thing will happen back here. We can either slide that because we got the real estate, or else we pop it. So either way, we've got a nice clean system to work with here.
That would look so cool coming in the pits.
That's starting to turn the corner again. Again, a little cleaner back in here, not as clumsy, but hang on, we're getting a little deeper with this thing. Then we're back to elevations.
Yeah.
And again, look at the strength in this, showing you the underbelly again, the cockpit, engine system in position. Then again, a little bit of a change in the rear wheel cover, and I think that's going to be critical. And that's maybe not quite there yet, but that character starts to really take on.
You could even do is we can even use those as like almost rudders.
Yeah.
Because at high speed, 200 miles an hour, you could totally direct air.
Split that. That's right.
Yeah, you could totally direct air at that point.
Absolutely. That's a great point.
Yeah, to help you kick a corner better.
Well, I think one of the comments made in our comment, which by the way, we're getting that video back from Garrett pretty soon. Our interview.
Good.
It was one of the things talked about with Stan. Remember, he said the fact if you can make this thing quicker in the corners, you've got a winner. So that's a good idea. Yeah. I think that's part of it all. Neato. So there we are. That's another pass. Then we went to this one.
Wow.
All of a sudden.
I didn't see this one.
That's the last one. That's the one we're starting to take advantage of. Well, let's go back to this for a moment here. Do we really have to go back and pick up this look? Or do we minimize it and say, let's do this. Let's keep that nice and clean. All electronics are back in through here. And then a little bit of escape valve here. Open capsule again for the occupant, and then just pull the wheel pant back and let the wheel reverse itself. Then really play up this whole lower splitter with the engine system. I think that really, and this looks really good.
Yeah, and we're sticking actually pretty close to. I mean, you get that rounded round, because that's the Origin's very round. This is a bit sharp for them, but I mean, really, it's ours, so it doesn't really matter. I like that look. It looks sharp. I'm trying to think how that would work aerodynamically, and it should, because points are clean. So
and just one or two.
We added. We forgot about that. Yeah,
that's a trailer that drives the air back into that underbody.
Yeah, it cleans the air up going back. No, that totally works. But I mean, if we did do a fin off of that, just because if you think about the car moving through the air, if it's coming off the corner, or if it wants to move the rear end, because you dive the front end, but you got to push the rear end.
Yep.
So it could really help us through the corners, especially high speed corners.
That's interesting. Yeah, like a lateral flat.
Because anything over 80 miles an hour, you're starting to use any aerodynamic feature that's on the car.
Man, I mean, well, there we are. Hey, Ballistic, you still with us?
I know he's probably working right now. Everybody's working.
Everybody's working.
We'll go off the comments later.
We'll feedback on it. That's where we were the history of this thing. But with that thought in mind, let's just kind of do this. Let's kind of open that up a little bit to keep a couple of these guys out.
I like this look here where you're doing that cockpit.
Well, let's do this. Let's go a couple of sketches here, Shannon. Bear with me. Let's get that plan view in place here. Let's kind of looking from above. Get this thing to kind of roll in here. Let's do a nice little study of just getting some character down. There's a canard. Let's pull that out. We want to keep that in and drive that through. There's the intake there. We bring that back and kick this through, and then back and through. Let's get that really nice big round area right there.
Right. Yeah.
Blend that in.
The way you did that with the intakes on that one.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Blend that in. I'm gonna get that, and let's just use that shape here. Let's kind of get this thing to a little bit of a secondary shape coming off of this, secondary shape coming off of that, and it's going to project this through just for a second here. So let's tone that in. That's intake up on top.
Yeah, I love that look.
This now becomes
scoop the air wherever we can.
And again, Those are those canard lifters right there that are inside the wheel itself.
Yeah,
that little kick will represent what this guy is doing here to play. A little bit of a step back on that, so I'll change that a little bit. Then I'll come back in through here, and I just got to get this into place. From underneath, do a half section.
Because that is actually air coming from there and evacuating some there. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So now let's got to do this. Let's got to get this in place here. And let's just do this. There's one splitter there, and one through here. Again, same thing on the other side of the center line. There it is, like so. And then let's take this back.
Yeah, it's really neat seeing this with almost no rear wing. Because you think normally in racing, that's huge rear wings are everywhere because they can't use the air underneath the car. When really you could generate more downforce from a vacuum than you could from any air element.
You got it. That's almost like the choice cliche, you know. So there it is. That opens up just a bit.
Yeah, it's an arms race in Formula One constantly, and they keep taking it away from them.
Boy, is it ever. Yeah, they keep. Not going to work. So that's that. That kicks in a little bit, and then comes right back and picks up that duct area here. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, that last one that you just jumped on me was perfect. I think.
So that's that. This comes around here. That's just going to kick that out. It's basically a real rough plan view change here. Let's get this guy lined up a little bit. And again, we do this. There's glass.
Yep.
Take it right into the nose cone itself. Move that around. And all of this. And this is all negative space.
Yep. Our road-born fighter.
That's what, so that's what that guy's going to look like in the plan view. I don't know. I think it's got some merit to it. And again, the body section there, we'll show you that in just a moment. But that's a plan view roughly. There's my center line right there. That's what that shape is doing roughly in the plan view. So we got a little bit of kickback on this on that little sidewall area. But I don't think we need to do anything up on top. Do you, fussy-wise?
No. It's clean air up there, especially if it's going into an intake.
Yeah, this might be nice. What we're showing in that little sketch there, where this thing comes back and does this. Comes around, that drops in, that section comes up and just drops into that round.
Yep.
Then again, back in through here, we're going to pick a point of reference where we bring that on through. That's the portion you were mentioning earlier that just
could be a flare out.
Flaps out. It just kind of opens up and does the following.
Yeah, and they can both also open to be braking.
So that whole thing here can kind of project.
Can you imagine how fast that would stop? Like it goes out.
It'd be faster than a dime. There it is there.
That would look so cool too.
That's it. There it is there. So let's just kind of streamline this guy.
So the guy next to you isn't too close.
Well, it's like the old Jimmy Hall comment. Well, you're too close. Why'd you pass me?
Yeah, right.
Couldn't do it. There it is there. There it is there. So that's not bad. It's got some character to it. Maybe. Oh, let's see. Linear.
Hey, Linear, how's it going, buddy?
How you good? We're finally got one.
Now it's creating well under the. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah, it's actually the strongest driving force there is.
Yep, it really is.
They keep taking away from it too, which is great. Nice.
So Zaborowski.
Senior thesis vehicle. Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? That's it. And Josh, that's absolutely right. We're moving toward that whole process here. And that was all done by accident, believe me. Just the whole thing kind of dictated where we are here with this thing right here. Interesting. Yeah. So there it is.
Yeah, now, if you tune in early to the VOD, you'll see us go through how we got here, which I think was really interesting. So yeah, that's probably how you got to it too.
Interesting.
It's just good logic.
I worked with Josh on that system. He did a nice job putting it all together. It was a little bit of a different scenario in the end, but very close in character. So let's do this. Let's see what happens here. We're going to come down to in the ground here. See what the elevation might look like here. Come back in through here. Bring it back.
So is that when you do the five circles? And I know is that like a standard wheelbase? That is.
It'll go 4 between or 3 between, depending on the scale you're after. Different scale of machines will pick up that same setup there, Shadow. But there it is. There that goes there. Let's get that spike in through here. And it comes down here. There's a nose cut up there. There's the actual splitter out front. There it is. That comes through, kicks back a little bit, and it picks up that angle.
Yeah,
comes back in again.
And keeping that angle, I think, is really key.
Yeah, I think it's really not back in through. This whole module comes in and just that's going to be critical right there.
Yeah, it's like our life pod.
There it is. Now, if we come back to this thing kind of strails through and does this. Now, you were talking earlier about bringing that piece in and just doing a partial.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, like a set of rudders.
Yeah, there it is. So that guy right there can kind of open up and begin to move on us here. So we can port there and there. And again, just for what it's worth, let's kind of see what happens here. Here's what we'll see cockpit-wise. Driver. There it is.
Yeah, wickedly fast.
Yeah, I think it's got some, and again, underneath here, this thing comes back. What we don't see in that view is this. That comes through, and there's the hydrogen outlet piece. And then down below, you've got that canard system that kind of sits underneath here. And
yeah,
right,
the rear splitter.
There it is. So that's tone here. And this just comes up.
Yeah, I
back.
see on this one you actually brought back the full lower deck.
Yep, that's all. Yeah, that's a shadow, but that's right. That's the whole thing would come off of this canard here and right straight through.
Right.
And this is all there.
Yeah, that under tray is very key.
So that's basically the character. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm loving it.
So that's that. And then I don't know if we kind of pull that back just a little bit and then let that come underneath that. That might be interesting too.
Always, we want to clean the air up off the back more than anything. Yeah. Because I think we're getting all our downforce from underneath.
Yeah. What do you think there, Josh? Pretty close?
I don't know, Josh, do you see this one? So this was the kind of where we're working from now.
There it is. Yeah, that was. And this is where we just for what it's worth, there, Josh. This is where we started, just looking at the overall genesis of this whole project. And there it is. There.
This is the ugly duckling it started with.
So, like you said, all the work you've done, for example, looks great. Right on. Yeah, what you've done in the past is looking at this. This is almost a variation of what you did. But it almost dictated the same kind of process when you're going to a speed form or also a racing vehicle to get this all to square away there. So that gives you a little bit of the history here. So let me just do this. Let's go back here, like a fresh sheet of paper. And let me get this out of the way here, guys. And we'll just go one more step here. Sharpen the stick up a little bit. And just put a little bit of character behind this guy from the rear 3/4. So we're trying to nail down a final design process here, Josh. So again, as I said, a lot of the input we've come up with has almost mirror sharp with what you've got as far as that process you went through. But again, this origin thing was such a difficult thing to work with because it had all these elements that really were formed the racing wheel fenders, high glass, zero sight line, everything.
Poor visibility. The plow.
Big blaster.
These
unbelievable.
A lot to fix.
Yes. So if we look at that thing and said, all right, what if we do this? We're going to come back in from the other view and say, okay, we're back here. Let's go back in space here just a little bit. Tidy this up. What's missing in this whole view is this. Come down the ground line, off of this, bring that back, and again, build this shape. Is that body section. That comes off of this, comes back. That can come out, curl back in. And at the same time, there's the overlap right there. That comes up, so that body comes in, but then the cradle of this, there's the actual canopy area there.
You know what might be neat is when we're to a final is drawing just the cockpit and the canards and how it connects to the rest, so they can see everything that's happening underneath.
Underneath it all.
Because I know what you're talking about, but I think
let's do this.
There's just no way to really visualize that from every angle.
No, you can't. So if you come back underneath there like this, and if you put the wheel in place, what we're saying is this, Shadow, that comes back.
The way the cockpit kind of is held up and suspended between these two front kind of pylons.
You got it. And that does that. Let's put the driver in place here. And it's bouncing down. There's that lower piece, that lower kicker. You won't see that, but you will see this. That's a little bit high, so let's drop that down just a bit. So there's a bit of the survival cell right here.
Yeah.
And you've got this coming off of the cowl.
I can't wait to show the interior of this thing too.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like painted on.
It is. I'm gonna do a little bit of that on my stream on Friday.
You're gonna wear this cockpit.
You got it. So that, just for what it's worth, just like that's where the glass is there. He's coming through that guy about right here. That's where the driver is.
Mm-hmm.
Etc. There's the actual tub right in through here. We can actually shorten that up a little bit if we wanted to. Now there's the exterior line that picks that up. It goes back into the rear section. This kind of drops off. That glass goes right through.
Yeah.
There's my center line here. There's that portion that comes down, picks up that, returns to that, and it picks up down. That's just through this. It's toned that in. That's where that survival cell is.
There's one thing critical that in the video that's coming out that we when we met with Stan and Malcolm is in all motorsports they've been moving the cockpit back. Yep. And for the driver that's harder and harder because you're kind of looking over, and you want to be able to know right where that edge of that tire is, and you could put that right on that line and cut a dime in half. Now, for ours, it's not a concern because and this is that survival cell we were talking about. We've shielded this cell and everything around it, just like in a modern day car, and pretty much there's no such thing as acceleration dampening. And even in 900 years in the future, it's hard to even fathom that because we struggle with gravity so much. But in our case, we're using everything around it to basically absorb impact if there wasn't, but then we're also shielding that survival cell.
And I think
so we can get it out there and let you feel like you're right on top of the road, which I think is a big, that's one of Malcolm thing that he really appreciated.
Well, if you look at that again, the plan view, we've got this coming into play, just doing basic forms. Coming out for that, there's the actual connection point right there. That's a connection, that's a connection.
Yep.
Up front, as this moves forward, there's a canard that does the following, whether it goes forward or rearward. That comes back in and begins to provide the rear section of this beauty. Then you've got a canard that comes in off of this.
Right.
In the plan view, there it is. So that's supported there, and there. 4 points. So there it is in plan view, so to speak. Let's get a little slimmer here. It's got to move this in so it has more of that kind of character. But there's glass, in essence.
Yep.
And then there's
puts the driver right out on the road.
Front.
Mm-hmm.
Then that gives you that little bit of a plan view break where that negative space is, and this comes back in and ties into that. So there it is there, and there it comes back and splits. So that's basically where we're at. Did you find one?
Yeah, like this. So that kind of gives you a little bit better view of what we're talking about.
Right in through there. So that's it.
And so there's those connectors.
Yep.
Which are there.
Which is right there, and then there'll be a little bit of contact back right up on top there.
Yeah, we can even do a T-tray. Well, actually, in the one that you had that beautiful shot of the front.
That front end graphics.
Where is
the
that
next one up, I think.
Yeah, here.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, with the old walrus look.
Right there. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I love that. That look is.
So that's cool.
I love that front shot.
That view is wicked. So if we come back into this thing and do this, let's go back and just kind of see what happens back here. We round that off a little bit more. I'm gonna come back in and pick this up. I'm gonna run a couple of sketches here. Just kind of make a mess.
Yeah. So the concept of the power plant, but with hydrogen, is we're. I say we now, modern day, something called dry hydrogen, which is literally hydrogen as a solid. It's so hard to conceive, but I mean, if you think about dry ice, not that hard to conceive.
No, it's not.
And the density of even 10,000 psi of H2 versus dry hydrogen is dramatic. I mean, you can easily conceive that. It's also a heck of a lot safer. So that's the concept of the power cell that we're using. Just in case anyone wanted to know.
Yeah, I think you got a good connection on that one there, no question.
Josh, isn't that right? Makes more sense to have driver front part. Exactly. Yeah, without having any.
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so when we were talking to Malcolm and Stan, they both said, anything that makes the driver feel comfortable but not, tired or sleepy or too comfortable where they're falling asleep. And also gives them allows them to use their senses as opposed to relying on instruments and stuff like that. So this cockpit, kind of forward cockpit sitting on top of the road is exactly that. it puts the driver connected directly with the car, directly to the road. So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I love the smooth rear end. It's so uncharacteristic for a race car.
Yeah.
You just every race car has a massive wing out back, and we're doing all the magic underneath. So I think that smooth rear end is just so clean.
Just lift it up a little bit. And
because the air off the top, we want as little drag as possible because that allows it to actually slip off the car, but it allows more of the ground effect to do more work.
And this is cool. You said a few moments ago, bring this form around and then float this guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then that's maybe this a little bit deeper here. But again, let's just kind of ink this in. Mm-hmm. That's where the tire is going to be located. A real scratchy sketch here. That kind of gives you where that's going to be located.
You want to see chicken scratch, let me do it.
That rolls off there. That's that little front canard. This comes in. Now let's just dive this back. I'm drawing into one or the other here. So that comes back. I'm not so convinced about maybe that shape comes down into the plateau. But here's the kicker. That surface comes back and returns on itself.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot more drop in this beauty. So there it is there.
Yeah, the thing is just so slippery.
And it just looks looks
it's very
lethal.
characteristic for Origin too.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of sharp edges, but it's very clean and smooth.
It is part of their part of their heritage, no question. So let's see what happens here. Again, let's kind of clean this plan view up a little bit.
So the concept of what we're working with here is we're still using the G12 moniker because, for now.
Yeah.
But like say for instance, like the Z4, BMW Z4. Well, there's a number of manufacturers like Porsche, RUF to Porsche. So RUF takes a Porsche and then heavily modifies it. It's still a Porsche, but they call it an RUF, Yellowbird or something like that.
Yep.
So that's the concept that we're working on here. So we may rename this completely. We're not sure.
We might just do that.
Yeah, but it's still it's still an Origin car coming off the factory. We're just dramatically modified.
Look at this, Shadow, just by accident. Look what happened here.
Ah, yeah.
So just swallowtail.
And you're using that? Oh, yeah. You can totally do that.
It sits there like that.
Absolutely.
And again, with a little bit more drawback in through here, and what's really cool about that is you put the engine system. There's one, and there's two.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit raw there, but that's exactly what that starts to look like.
Oh, that does look cool.
Really interesting.
And then again, this just keeps going back to this, it's our road-born fighter. That's really what it is.
So there's a little bit of a plan view roughie there. Sorry for the scratchy sketches here, guys, but we're just trying to get an image down here. If you finally tune in, it might be kind of nice, too, to take that same plan view up front instead of being so clean with it, bring this back as well.
Yeah, then you got more. You're actually creating a vacuum there, which is going to pull more air through.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Interesting. So if you put a little bit of surface in this guy,
which allows this under tray to be more functional,
much more effective. And this half round might be kind of nice too. Yeah, it's a little doughy back in through there. But maybe the connection is this.
I like that look.
Maybe a little bit more business-like, almost like a talisman appearance to it, plan view.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like a.
See, who's right? Makes a lot more sense. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, getting the dryer. Yeah. No, I mean, look. It's starting to look almost organic.
It does look like
ready
that.
to reach out and
Let's see what happens here.
Attack the road.
Let me grab another sheet of paper here. Is making sense here, Shadow?
Yeah.
All right?
I think we can make 10 different versions.
Yeah, I think we could too. I think you're right there. So if we come back in and create a module.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this thing in full color with
oh man,
the graphics on it. So we're also going to do
the livery,
active liveries. So the car will change its livery because it's all basically not screened. It'd be like well, in the future they would have painted OLEDs when they do mappings, which is actually still, again, it's very, very possible. It's they just need to figure out the circuitry of it. But no, it would change based upon a number of different situations where maybe the red cars are up at front and the blue ones are in the back.
Yeah, like a field class, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, something like that. And we could also change it where you can sell sponsor time. Cars could change their sponsor. That would go against so many of the rules in racing. But
yes, it would.
Right. We're breaking all the rules anyway.
That's true. So that goes back in. That comes around here. Slowly but surely we'll get there, guys. Run that through. There's that canard here. There's my cockpit area. Bring that in. That one kind of disappears a little bit here, but that's going to do. That comes in here. There's that little half round in here. Mm-hmm. That comes in, drops back again. And then this guy. Let's float this thing. So we brought that out and did this.
Oh, that's right. We remember that smooth. We were going to use that as a air brake.
Yep.
So that's what the smooth space was for.
That's smooth. Yep.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Yep.
So that guy. Let's see what we got here. It's kind of
that's perfect. Yeah, because you don't need intake if you're braking.
No. See, now this is where we'll see the cockpit come through and draw through that belly form here. That'll come in and just suspend itself right there.
You could even use that as a flywheel stall mechanism.
Yeah.
Because you're blocking the intake, so it would allow it would create a vacuum and allow the whatever fan blades or whatever to basically spin down a lot faster.
Let's see if I can get this kind of rough this thing in here just a little bit.
Yeah, I love that front end.
There's my connector there to root.
Literally just have to add wings and this thing will fly.
That drops in. That's that to that. Comes over here. There's half the section in glass. This one comes in here.
Ooh, I think Josh is leaving. Signing off. Looks amazing. Can't wait to see the concept.
All right, Josh.
Every day. Yeah. It is a pleasure working with him, isn't it? No, great. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, Josh.
We will definitely see you soon. We'll be here.
We'll be in. We'll be in. All right. What do you think here, Michael?
Yeah, we're doing it. I'm loving where that's going.
Is it pretty interesting? Yeah. Let's kind of shoot this in here. Let's get that wheel in place. And we won't see it on the other side. We're just going to get this in. What am I doing here? That goes across to that. Let's open that up a little more. There's intake there. That comes out. Just keeps it nice and flat. That rolls around and picks up that line right there, which I think is neat. That can be kind of cool to float there.
That's that twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just looks so cool.
There it is. So that guy connects just like we did in that other view here.
It's so clean with the lines too.
That connection is
so nice and
right
smooth.
there, and then that's it. That's all we need.
Yep.
I don't know. What do you think here, gang?
I really like where that's going. I think that's at least one we'd have to do.
That's right. That's one variation. Let's get a little crisper with this guy. That comes up. That buries underneath behind that. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it goes inside the wheel.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that does that. It's going to get that all toned in. That's for what it's worth visually here. And that comes down. It comes down to ground. Let's keep it nice and clean. That opens up that possibility right there. So there's another connection right here. That thing just flips off of that.
Yeah, you could even use, if you wanted more downforce elements off there, but I think we're good there.
Yeah. So again, what's missing here, that's it.
It would definitely clean the air up better, though.
That'll come through and pick up that same process back here with the engine nacelles.
Yeah, because you don't want too much of a vacuum behind the car. You want to clean the air going off of it, so it more than pushes it through.
That's right. So let's drop that in. That comes back and does this, a nice clean half round.
Yeah, and that could be where that air brake is.
And right into it here. Yep, that can come off of this line here.
Yeah, because didn't we had intakes up here as well?
And
yeah,
a slot right there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, stalling the air going into there would allow any sort of, intake to basically drop the RPMs quicker.
You got it.
I would think.
There it is there. So now let's do this. Now,
We're in dream world now. So.
DreamWorks works.
That's right.
So if this thing comes up, that's what that's doing right there.
Yeah, it'd probably be inverted though.
Yeah, we'll go the other way.
Because it would rip off. 200.
Yeah, lose it.
So we're estimating the vehicle is going to move between probably roughly at least 250 miles an hour.
Yeah, there we go. That sounds good to me. So there it is there.
So yeah,
there's my route.
that totally works.
Boy, that could be kind of fun.
Oh,
Look at
yeah.
that. Wow.
Yeah, but imagine coming to a stop with that flipped out and those flared out.
And then we go to this.
And what's cool about that is because these are in the back, it keeps the car straight.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're braking, the last thing you want is a wheel braking too much and you're twisting the car because that's what gets you killed.
That would really be cool. Let me grab a pen here. That'd be kind of interesting when we actually do this. That comes in here. The revision would be that's static. That comes out to this position here.
Yep.
As it begins to.
Yeah.
That pivots. Mm-hmm. And this lifts.
That's cool.
Now that means that in here, we got a little bit of an abscess. Pardon me here. See what we got here scale-wise here. That's kind of neat. So that comes straight down.
Mm-hmm.
That comes in. That's canard there. That gives it that little bit more character. Now this comes along here. So it picks up that. This is all negative spacing through here. That comes down. That comes down. That's underbody. This is all underbody. It's all negative. That's all air right there.
Mm-hmm.
Comes up, falls back into that. This flies into that, which takes you there. And again, this comes through and sneaks through.
Yeah, this is the one.
Pardon my hands here, gang. I'm just going to scrub in some shape here.
Yeah, I think this is the one.
That's looking pretty good, isn't it? And it's got a cleaner statement to it altogether. And then this is all body side drop here. So this is all going to go real light tone.
Yep. Yeah, because we're in the... So do you typically do light perspective from behind or in front, or is it just kind of whatever feels like?
It really depends on just the nature of the view. And then this is a perfect view for this car because if you go above it, you lose some of the insert pieces here. If you go too tight to the ground, you lose a lot of that effort as well.
Yeah.
So if this is shadow here, let's do this. If it says a shadow, it does this. Comes in, goes back, kicks in, goes all the way underneath, and then it picks up that under tray. So that shadow's going to look like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's ground. Then when it comes back out again, it just picks up a little bit of that. No,
because it's so close.
Yeah, this is all shadow here. That's all negative. Pardon my hands again there, gang. That's what that looks like. That's what you're going to get in shadow. Now that's pretty wicked looking.
Yeah, I like this.
What do you think?
I like it.
Coming along?
I think we're there.
Man, I tell you, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I mean the way we clean this all up, and actually put these variable parts in there.
Yeah, I think that's going to tighten this down.
I can't think of anything else that I would change about it.
I think that comes back to some of the stuff we did earlier. And this whole last pass of sketches were really kind of, is it here?
Yeah, I kind of have them all.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
That's pretty close to that whole setup there.
Yeah, well, what we did, and the reason why I think this one's even better is we cleaned up this completely. So it's good to have intakes, but I mean, if we have the centerline intakes here and we have the minor ones right over there, you clean that airflow up really beautifully.
Yeah,
so it just bleeds right off the car.
So this would be intake. And on the other side, when I come across the perspective, that's going to have the same setup. This is now upper.
All right.
That blends into that, which
we're using that airspace coming in through in this channel.
Yeah.
Which is actually a very deep channel.
It is. That's a lot of draft there. No question. That's open. This is a canard.
The good thing about that too is it's actually stable air. It's not tumbling or moving because it's not coming across the side. There's not a chance for influence. It's actually cleaning it up as it goes through.
Yeah, it's being trapped right inside. Actually, let's go back to this guy. It's being trapped right inside that vortex right here.
Yeah, which is good because
Really
that's
cool.
why Formula One likes to use the upper, the over the top, because it's the cleanest, most undisturbed air.
Yes, you're right. Let me just do that part of here, Shadow. So it is here. It's going to go back in through here. It's a little bit more sketch in this guy. See, there it is. Get a good hard line in through here, glass line, take that through, back to tone. Again, clean this up a little bit more. Into the shadow. This has got to change too, it's got to come out.
Yeah, because we linked, did you link it all there? To that corner? Yeah, okay.
It all comes back.
That would make sense.
It all comes back to that corner behind the wheel right there.
Yep.
That comes in. There's the other side there, and then there's the canard here. There's the actual footprint. That's where the drop is.
Yeah. The front there is just.
That comes out. So there it is. There it is. There, and then this comes out to here. Wow. No, that's. Let's see. What am I missing here? Oh yeah, I got to come back to this. This is now all air. I mean, open space.
Open.
That's all open. This will be in shadow too, so it's going to drop that in a little bit. That goes through. That ends there, and that ends there. Wow, interesting. So
yeah, I'm digging it.
yeah, it's got some character to it, I think. But down through here is a really kind of. Do you want to do this? That still work, or does that work? We could drop it in. I don't know. No.
Well, with being split, that could be a little bit lower.
Yeah,
at that point. It could work.
Yeah, it could. Let's see.
The question is, do we want to?
Yeah, I don't know. But no.
So when you have this clean air moving flat, you want to either leave it flat or turn it into something.
Yeah, I think leaving it
flat. If you dropped it, I mean, it could. No, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
See what happens here.
Work across the top.
No, I don't think that's going to. See, there's a pinch right there.
I don't think there's enough. I don't think there's enough surface to really do something with.
I don't think there is either. We brought this through. We brought this back. There's my line right there. More of that.
Yeah, and I could totally see an active air element there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That thing's not just flipping. I think it'd be really.
Yeah, it
cool.
wouldn't have to move much either because there's so much air going through there.
No, not a bit. So
but that could be great for diving into a corner, creating a little bit of downforce right on that outside tire, or even on the inside tire.
Oh yeah.
Because you're not pulling air from the side, you're actually pulling it directly from the front. So even as you're turning through a corner, you're still getting tons of airflow.
Getting it. Yeah. Well, that's not bad. It's a bit odd here as far as I think that's a much better stance. Just what we've got. I think going up.
I love that statement. That to me looks like a road-born fighter. I mean, it just looks really neat.
Does.
I mean, you look at because you remember all the space back in here is it's so negative and shaded.
It's all air.
Yeah, it almost looks like that's the aircraft. It's just flying along the road.
There it is. We put a ground on it.
I think that's really neat.
Let's just do this just for fun. That might be a little bit odd in the proportion. Move this back a little bit here.
Yeah, knife edging this is definitely the best way to go.
Yep, nice and vertical.
For that air that's coming back through there.
Let's see.
Because you're clean cutting it.
No, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah, there we go. Essentially, it would be so hard to see anything underneath there because it's so tucked under.
Yeah, get that wheel back here. That's what's missing. A little further back.
Yep.
I don't know. Wow.
Well, you would have that. Yeah. I mean, we would finish this.
That's right. That'll be behind that.
Yep.
See, that guy, that'll come out a little bit further.
There you go.
That'll come up and then just sneak in right about there.
Yep.
That's our intake. This is not cockpit.
Yep. Oh, that's brilliant.
And then, for what it's worth, let's see if that still magically works there. Occupant. Driver in position. Oh yeah,
totally works.
There it is.
Yep.
You know what was missing here? Some of them. Well, we got to return this guy too. But what's missing here is this little air dam step where the engine's going to be, and then right in through here.
Yep. Yeah, we wouldn't want that coming out too far. One rear end collision and you're done.
No, it's over. But you know what? After seeing this, I do like this line going uphill or staying parallel. It just cleans up the whole gesture.
Yeah, keeping it flat, I think is definitely good.
I think that's much better. Yeah, that's so much stronger.
Because then this slight arc of bringing it down actually creates a little bit of a vacuum, but it doesn't create too much tumble, and it keeps it clean. Yeah. Plus, if we're cleaning it up and there's so much coming out of here, it wouldn't really matter.
So much. You're right. That's it.
We're essentially just moving the air out of the way slightly, as opposed to plowing through it like the original does.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the key. So that comes back.
We're not a locomotive. We're not a bird.
No. So if we're there, let's kind of try it again here. Let's do this. Let's get this guy right back in the right proportion. Let's see what that does. That's that. That comes up. That runs straight through. That's doing that. That's wheel in place.
Yeah, because we want the flap up to not be a part of the element that moves out. Because you got to be able to change that tire.
Yep, that's right.
It would see this whole panel would probably come up.
That'll sit right there. That's what that's doing.
Yep, perfect.
So now let's see what happens here. What happens now? There's cockpit. There's a cockpit. Draw that through. There's my return. Much slimmer. Look at that.
Yeah, that's it right there.
And this goes square to the world.
I'm gonna shape you like a bullet.
Yeah, man. And that's right down to ground. There's my center line there. There's my center line there. Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Now if we go back in through here, let's see, there's cockpit, there's belly, part of that whole process. Now let's tone that in, see what that does. Isn't it amazing how subtle little changes make a difference? Line downhill doesn't have the same drama as keeping it uphill.
That look is that's like straight out of a class Class C car or
man,
it totally slipped my mind. But I mean that just looks so amazingly clean.
Yeah, that's neat. Let's more. Just a few people signing in here. Just check out. There it is. Well, let's see. We kind of wrap this beauty up. No, not wrapping up. But let's say we did this. All right, let's try this.
Oh yeah, this would be a good angle. Yeah, really peer down through there. We'd have to build brand new racetracks just for this thing.
That's fine. They can franchise from us.
A lot bigger ones.
Well, you got that right.
With a lot more straights.
That's that. Into this. Into here. That's halfway through. Yeah, it's about right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that just looks so awesome.
That's got some character to it, I think. Now it's amazing with just a few changes here and get this kind of this body.
Yeah, like that looks like a Group C car. This looks like a fighter.
Yeah, it does. It changes the view on this thing, man. It's amazing. Let's see, this goes uphill.
That's what's really neat about it too. Is it's just each perspective of this vehicle is just dramatically different.
Yeah, it changes quite a bit. So now let's see. There's intake there. There's intake here. It does that. This drops in just a bit. Picks up that same negative, that little intake piece here. That comes around. Right there, kiddo. We got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. This view looks so cool.
Yeah, we get all the little surfaces squared away. There it is. That's look how slick that thing is.
Yep, that's it.
Pretty slick. Let's do it. Let's do this. Let's take the body style here. Let the shadow to drop into this thing.
Yeah, it's like you were saying when Ferrari first started messing around with barge boards, how strange the car looked.
Oh yeah.
But really, it worked.
It worked. It's incredibly
And if you look
functional.
at how much open spaces, I mean, you could crawl inside there.
Yeah.
There are even a few people in there.
That's right. You got it.
You don't realize how big that space is.
And it's a lot of open air. I think you got this thing in the scale. It'd be kind of nice to see what this looks like in the third dimension too, which could be done. There's an intake
You
there.
need to make this into an actual model.
Yeah, wouldn't it be cool? We could do that.
You could do that.
That gives us
Extrude it.
Where am I here? Let's see that. Let's get that. That's deceptive. That's all going to go shadow. All we're doing is showing a little bit of tire there. You won't see it, but nonetheless, that's the underneath there.
Right.
That comes in. There's the rest of the cockpit. Not bad, huh? Let's see where we are here. What do you think here, gang? Let's think about.
Which would you rather have?
Look at the difference. Look at the difference.
Which would you rather have?
Man, alive. Wow, let's look at it. If I clean the sketch up a little bit.
I would show you a picture of the GT, their racing version, but all it is little fins here, and it's painted differently.
That it is.
Not much of a difference.
There it is, gang. The gesture, I think, is really interesting.
Yeah.
I think the more I look at this, Shadow, it would be cool in the plan view if we did this. Looking right down on it. Got a Coke bottle, a little bit more of this thing. Keep that pretty round, but at the same time.
Yeah, what is it when you show all three views, you show top, front, and
plan
side?
For, that's isometric.
Isometric plan view of this car in one shot would be really neat, because there'd be three different cars.
It would be.
You wouldn't even barely be able to tell.
You would not recognize it.
Which is great.
Let's see if we pinch this in a little bit more.
Because there's so much like magic, especially. I mean, it's some of the most beautiful parts of this car are probably underneath.
Yeah, that's where you don't see. But that that may merit doing a couple more views to describe that. Let's see what this is doing. I'm getting there. Pardon me, gang. Put that into place. Maybe it's more of this when you actually come out.
Yeah, it's just such great air intake spots.
Yeah, right up on top. I mean, that marries right into that.
Such clean air back there.
And then this comes out of that. And that's the thing that's scary about this form. There's so many different options to work with.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about. Is, there's a lot of different variants we can even do off of this because there's a lot of really neat ideas we had as we went through this.
Yeah, no question.
But I really feel like this is easily the best culmination of them.
No, I do too. There's no doubt about that.
Because it keeps form. It's beautiful, but it's functional.
Yeah,
Highly functional.
Pull that in. Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah, pardon me. That's that. Now that comes out and begins to pick up that same wheel pant. I don't know. And then this has to come. This all has to come forward. But maybe just push the whole thing.
Right,
that gesture. Right. Yeah, when I just saw this, wouldn't it be neat to kind of separate that a little bit? No, not really.
Well, we have all this airspace underneath here too. I mean, because you think about it, that airspace is the same there.
Yeah,
so,
it is.
Yeah.
It is. Let's see what that does, plan view wise. Might be a little bit more force though. That's what the other thing I don't like about it. It comes in. There's that air brake. Comes into play.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still think it's best for us to just stay with that first shot at it. It's a little bit weighty in through here, I think. If at all this is going to have to move forward. Yeah, I don't, Anyway.
Well, no, I think you had it right here. Like leaving it up there.
I agree. I think the separate under that, it just fractures the shape. That's got to come back in.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's neat. You just keep going. There it is. There it is. Yeah, to keep that clean, bring this forward, pull the cockpit forward. That's got to be that. Yeah,
longer helps you with speed.
Yep.
Yeah, because it allows you to compress and decompress air over the car at longer straights. So.
Well, I tell you what, that's a pretty cool exercise there, Doctor. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
Well, wrapping it up, what do you think? Do you see anything here that you want to kind of carry on with? There's a bunch of junk here. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got here.
I think you really hit it with this one.
This page?
Yeah, this clean air here, the way that wheel falls, how open this is. Obviously drawing in the functionality of being able to change the tires, how you get in and out of the cockpit, the air brakes, the smoothness of the shape, and just the look. I mean, I think that's the best one.
I do too. I couldn't agree more. It just has it embodies all we've been talking about for the last 3 to 4 weeks about getting this thing into its position where it looks like a racing machine, where this does.
Yeah, and it feels like something that if you're sitting in there, you feel well
like
connected.
You're part of it. That's right.
You feel well connected.
Well, I think the thing that's great about it too is this.
I think you won't be afraid to drive it hard. Well, that's a big thing with racing.
Yeah, it is.
If the driver is afraid of the car, there's nothing an engineer can do to tell you any better.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And I think the big difference there is this. What I like about what you've got there, Shadow, when we looked that out, is this. If I look at that in just pure, if I broke it down to 2 lines, this is ground. Line place here. Oops. I'm at ground level here. What I like about what that is doing is this. It's simply this kind of a whip line. It's that line right there.
Mm-hmm.
Against that line right there.
Yeah. It's exactly
those 2 forms.
Yep.
What a neat logo that would be.
There you go.
Just take this guy. Those 2 lines really play together nicely.
See, he never stops thinking.
That's why I'm bald. Look at this.
All here is just burn off, right?
It's all been burned away. But look at this, how that could be a very interesting little logo piece of this beauty. And then just to captivate that.
Yeah, that character. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what intrigues me about that whole sketch.
Yeah.
That personality is there because all the elements.
Right, and that's kind of where I was saying with this, that Group C kind of look. Yeah, that does look cool.
That is neat.
We're marketing it already.
There it is.
Maybe we should just go build it.
We should go build it. That's right. We're gonna hold Malcolm and say, "Okay, we're ready."
Yeah, you are.
There it is.
Here's your car.
Here's your car, Malcolm. We're ready. Now that has, but again, that is a logo. But the presence of those 2 lines, that line against that line, the counterpoint is terrific.
Yeah, and I think we got actually early empathy when we were talking about that. Yep. That line, those crossing lines where it's this front and plus the cockpit. That's almost what we were starting with to begin with.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
It's cool how it goes full circle.
Isn't it funny though? I mean, again, I started that series. Was it last week when I did that series on the shooting brake? The history of the shooting brake.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting how it started with an empathy sketch and said, okay, I'm going to relate those elements to this generation's. And I don't know what it is. There's something about that whole approach being very empathic that opens up the floodgates for what what do you do with all the negative space? How does that begin to fill in? And that dictates that nicely, and vice versa.
Yeah, and I think we did a really good job with using that negative because we know it's it's potential downforce, it's vacuum, there's air flowing through there.
Yeah, well, I think
we're really cleaning it up.
Let's go back to this. I mean, we haven't really destroyed.
Well, I mean, like this dead edge, we totally reused that. That's the thing. Yeah,
we took this, reused this into that.
We kept that because if you look at this from the top view, that's still exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I think we mounted a lot of the elements.
We just basically created a better version of that.
We tore that up and said, no, that's not going to work.
We took these two canards here and just pulled them in and brought the nose down. I mean, really, it's not a stretch.
No, I don't think it is either.
When you think GTR and you look at what some of the manufacturers have done, like the third-party manufacturers, like RUF to Porsche, like I was saying earlier, is they're still taking the original vehicle, they're just dramatically changing it, keeping the character, but it's still all there.
There's no question about that. And I think the other thing too, when I saw this photograph, I think the human scale was something like the guy was up and through here. I think height-wise, it was big.
I remember now.
So that scale of that thing is the human scale was huge, which I still think we can keep here and still make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's important too. I think not only drawing them in the vehicle, but also drawing them next to it.
Yep, which would tell me.
Gives you real scale. Okay, here you go. Here's one right here.
There it is.
So it's actually smaller. Yeah, it's actually smaller.
It's huge.
Yeah, it is very tall. It'd be neat to see what ours looks like with a person standing, because the person would be taller than that vehicle.
Absolutely, we could dictate by this is its elevation right here, just for what it's worth. You can take that same process here, and let's do this. If that's our machine, I would see nothing wrong with coming back in with something that's.
Yeah, that's about right.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that, that's exactly right. Yeah, because the tire size is about that, about halfway.
Yeah.
Here. A little bit. Well, he's back further, so yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep. No, I think we're right on.
For now, even if we cheated that and said, all right, we bring it down to here.
Yeah. I mean, race cars typically are long and pretty. I mean, if you look at like that Bentley right there, I mean, it's about scaled. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing that's going to be nice now is to take this basic format, and what I'd like to work on, with your permission here, Shadow, is this. Let's take this sketch and walk around. I'll keep that same basic flavor. What does this section start to look like? I see this thing coming over and then break in underneath real rapidly. So getting a lot of collapse on that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
So yeah, that's like our
cell.
Yeah, it's our kind of our survival shielded cell. No, because a pod is what you want to climb into.
You got it. I think that section could be really cool by doing this. Pardon me for the thumbnail here. But that center line of vehicle, just kind of bring that bone line out. That whole line, and just the cockpit, that can collapse in and do this. And right away, just really disappear.
Because there doesn't need to be much in there.
Not at all. Then you pick up that, which gives you the connection to the really cool looking platform we've got here, and these intakes are right back in through here.
Yeah, and that will really show off all that.
Absolutely.
Like in this is where we were talking about. There's so much there that you can't really see here. No. And I think that's important to really emphasize.
I think that's going to be really interesting, because again, if you connect the dots on this thing, it's actually going to do this into that, and then all this from about right there, all that's going to be negative.
Right. Yeah, and see, one thing with this is what I was saying is, if you took off the wheels, you'd think it's just a fighter, which I think is important.
I do too.
Keeping a road-borne fighter is.
What if we did this, and then all of a sudden just brought that in even more so? There's the actual canopy right there.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So that tone.
Yeah, because if it's shielded, like I say, you don't need crash structure.
No.
Which is usually what makes up most of what surrounds a driver.
Yep, you got it. And so that's, and again, we can kind of boost that up a little bit more, but nonetheless, that's what we're looking at, front end. Mm-hmm. Really good. That's a bit too low here. Just gonna cheek that in, we get that, and then there's our splitter. Anyway, that's a nice gesture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
very nice gesture.
Yeah, and I think again what we're saying is being able to, when we're done, draw a view without these tires on there. Just to
see the section.
Just so you can see all of that through there, because there's so much going on back there.
Yeah, I can use this. I can use that same view now. Just instead of doing an illustration, just start cutting sections through it in red pen or whatever, so you can see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of
on the plan view. Yeah, absolutely.
Development drawing.
I love it.
Pardon me. Well, gang, that's where we are here today. What do you think? So far, so good?
It's a pretty quiet day today. I don't think we advertised
No,
it. We'll put it up for YouTube comments, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll get
see what
there.
it comes back to. But yeah, I think the next show we'll do is we'll be working on the final.
Yeah, we'll just see. I'll do between now and the next go around. Shadow, I'll go ahead and start doing some final illustrations, sketches on section and so forth, and put together a good footprint front and rear.
Linear says looks great. You want one, Linear?
Yeah, Linear, looking good, Linear. Thanks for tuning in here, man. So I think that's it. I think it's a very exciting day. I think we've come a long way from that first pass of sketches. They're, I don't know where they are, but nonetheless.
We were kind of all over. We're here.
Yep, there they are. That first pass has really made a huge. Look at the difference there, gang, from where we were from there to there. So much hotter. That's looking pretty good. She had a nice job, my man.
Yeah, excellent work. You nice job. Well, I'm just a guy talking over your shoulder.
It's good to have that. All the work. But it's great to have that team tag work and looking at what do you think? What do you think? It makes a huge difference. Yeah. And again, just in closing here, gang, if you have any interest in any drawing programs at all, please visit my website at drcontrast.com. Any concerns or questions, drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. And really interesting to say, look at what we're doing here, gang. And again, thank you for the time today. Really appreciate the input, and we'll keep you posted on the development next step of refining this final design theme to get this thing into operation. So there we are, gang.
Yes, it was a pleasure, guys. We're looking forward to finishing this thing up. I think the next show we'll come back with some really fine, refined out pieces and talk through it, kind of how we got to where we at.
Yeah, we'll keep
just quicker. But yeah, and then if we can get, like we were saying, get that plan view with the cuts through, I think that's going to be a real.
Yeah, we'll walk around this thing in section form or just in contour to make sure all the pieces are coming together nicely. But big progress today, gang. Thanks so much, and always remember too. I will sign off at this. I really appreciate it too, man. Never forget to remember. Dare to be great. Thanks for the time today, gang.
Thanks,
really
guys.
Enjoyed it. Thank you. And thanks to Shadow, my wingman. Super. That's nice. That is nice. There we are. Ooh, very cool. Oh, yeah, you want to go ahead and end it up there. There you go.